TSF Entertainment.
And welcome back to the TSF Entertainment channel. Is Retro CG in the building this good Saturday afternoon, joined by Mr. M2.
What's going on, broski?
Ain't nothing much. How you doing?
You know, another productive Saturday.
You staying warm out there in Chicago?
Trying to, man. I was shopping for coats, man. Coats they got pricey, man.
For a person who normally doesn't wear one, I'm sure it's a shell shock
man, bro.
Than what they used to call it. A coat right now is a pair of shoes.
I'm telling you, like all these North Face vest and Nike vest and cold gear. It's all cool, good, and fine and dandy. But man, like I'm like, all right, I'm gonna buy me a coat. Nope. Like right now, yeah, the coats I'm looking at, yeah, they $4.
So I hope everyone is staying warm out there in the world. We're supposed to have this winter storm that's breezing through our region. But, you know, here in Georgia, they always say that, oh, it's going to snow, it's going to ice, and it'll be nothing like that for us. All right, but y'all didn't come here to listen to us talk about the weather and coats. Y'all came here to see what we are talking about, and that is the Nowhere Man. And it is season 1, episode 2. And the title of the episode was No Safe Haven. M2, what did you think about the episode? You didn't get to be a part of the episode 1 review. So kind of give me your thoughts on the past 2 episodes. What did you think about them?
I think for the very beginning, for the way they started it out, man, awesome. They got right into the storyline. I'm a little disappointed that they didn't push promotion for this as they could have, because this is actually one of those shows where it can be a sleeper show, but it's a really good show. The first episode, like I said, they got right to it. They set a storyline. They gave us the main characters. And from there, I mean, I'm drawn in as far as like, I'm not sure what the audience will look like for this show, but I'm here for it. I'm definitely here for it.
I agree with everything you just said, and it's funny you should say that because I felt the same way too. I was like, yo, this is a really good show. Stars, where's the promotion for it? Like, there's no promoting for this show. And, you know, outside of the Power Universe shows, Stars rarely promotes their other shows like that. So I'm just like a little disappointed in that, because this is just like how they did P-Valley. You know, it just threw it on and gave it very little promotion. Even the cast themselves aren't promoting it much. And I'm like, wow, this is a good show. All right, so we got a new show alert. So y'all need to be checking out the Nowhere Man. Let's get this show renewed for a season 2. The episode run for season 1 is only 6 episodes. I'm like, why? So because we only got 6 episodes for season 1, the pacing is real fast. So you probably have to watch it twice to catch some things if you didn't catch it the first watch. But the pacing it moves. And I don't mind that. I don't necessarily mind that when a show has the pacing move, because it doesn't drag stories out and it doesn't have you lingering long as to what's going to happen. Within that same episode, a situation is resolved. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get into episode 2, No Safe Haven. Episode synopsis: sanctuary at the homeless shelter shatters when Phumza's gang attacks, leaving a child fighting to survive and Lukas enraged. Realizing he can't run, Lukas hunts those responsible for returning him to his brutal skills that he swore he would never use again. All right, so we are picking up where we left off at in episode 1. We're back at the shelter now. We see that Lukas has arrived back at the shelter, and he has brought Neo with him back to the shelter. They are on the run right now from Puma's gang that attacked her at the penthouse back in episode 1 when he came to see about her and ultimately end up rescuing her. He looks out the window, probably checking things out to make sure that, you know, no one followed them back to the shelter, when he starts having a flashback to his mercenary days. Something is here. something is here, and with this particular scene right here, it looks like Lucas might have lost a comrade.
That's what I thought. That's what I took from that.
I thought that too. So
That's what I took. That's what I took from that, is that he lost a comrade. I think if he didn't lose him, I might go out on a stretch here. I'm assuming by seeing the two bodies, those were enemies, but him losing a comrade here, I'm kind of gonna go out on a limb and say that we might actually see this quote unquote unalive comrade and maybe another episode that he may have thought was gone. I'm thinking that's what I'm thinking.
What's up, Bobby? Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about right there. Bobby said he just heard of Nowhere Man a week ago. That's crazy,
right?
That's crazy.
Yeah, Nowhere Man. This is something Star should have, promoted and got it out there, because I think this can be one of those shows that's very promising and blow and really, man, like blow up. It started out great, and the second episode was even better than the first. But like I said, they're straight to the point in these episodes. Like it's no wasting time. It's no guessing and all that other stuff. It's straight to the point on these episodes so far as what I've seen.
All right, so as Lucas is coming out of his flashback, I do agree that something here has to do with a fallen comrade, and we'll probably get answers to that in the next few episodes. Neo wakes up and she asks him about how his wound is feeling. In the last episode he got grazed, and I don't even think they showed us him getting shot. I don't think they showed us him getting shot, or maybe he got stabbed. I'm not sure. He got injured. And I do remember when they were walking out, when they were leaving out, she said, "You're bleeding." He was like, "I'll be all right." But I never did see him get attacked or get shot. So maybe he called a straight.
You got to go when they were at I believe it was the penthouse. When she went to stay in the penthouse, that's where it happened.
Yeah, I know that's where it happened at, but I'm saying the actual injury, we never saw him like get pow-powed. And we never, unless he got when he was struggling with the guy or whatever, maybe he got stabbed.
That's when it happened.
Yeah. Okay. So she asked him how his wound is feeling, and he says that he'll be all right. It's fine. And so they start talking, and they're just kind of going back and forth. And she asks him, "Where did you learn how to do all that?" In other words, how did you become a one man? This kind of also reminds me of the Punisher a little bit too. This kind of reminds me of the Punisher a little bit of Blade. He's a vigilante, so to speak, but not by choice. He doesn't want to be. He wants to live a quiet, unassuming life. He's there at the shelter. He's taking refuge there at the shelter. He's helping the women out there at the shelter. And he's just kind of living his life under the radar. So he doesn't want to be pulled back into his mercenary lifestyle. But she asked him, she said, "Where did you learn how to do all that?" She said, "Did you work for the police?" He was like, "No, the army." And she says, "The army taught you all of that?" And he was like, "A little bit." And she was like, "What about the rest of it?" And he was like, "That's a long story." So then the scene switches to we're at the prison now, and Phumza is getting ready to go for his hearing. We heard him talk about that in last week's episode where he was shaking the guards down to get information on the board on who all he was going for his hearing. So it is the day for his hearing, and you would think this man has 0 ounce of compassion, heart, soul, anything.
Yeah,
this man is the epitome of evil. This man is evil. So I was wondering what they were trying to show us with this shot right here. Was he like praying, or was he like wondering, am I going to get out? Am I going to be a free man today, or whatever the case would be? No type of remorse whatsoever. The guards come in and they tell him it's time to go. They put the handcuffs on him to take him to his court proceeding. Again, Phumza he's dangerous. He's a pretty dangerous dude.
I think in that particular scene when he's staring out into the window or whatever, I think that scene is, it kind of it kind of, and we know who the character is and how he is now. So with that being said, I think he's staring out into that. All right, well, this is when I get out of here, and this here's that play. I need this to go the way it's supposed to go.
Okay, good. That's a good observation right there. Because I was like, well, what are they trying to show us here? Because the man sure ain't praying to God.
That man ain't praying. That man ain't praying to nothing.
He might be praying to the devil, but he damn sure ain't praying to God. All right, so he looks down at his workers. That was one of the workers that came up in the cell with him last week. I don't know if that was his way of saying goodbye to them or whatever, but they're seeing him off to his court proceeding, and he gets in front of at first I thought it was like a parole board, like he was going before like a parole board, but when he started talking about sentencing, I was like, okay, so it's not a parole board. So maybe that's how maybe once you are convicted of your charges in Africa and you go to jail and then you get brought back for your sentencing at a later date, much like how they do here in the US, but instead of it being a courtroom and a jury, I guess it's a panel of judges, I'm assuming. Unclear. So let me see what Bobby's talking about. Is he supposed to be like a wrestler, kill shot, or underground wrestling that had a storyline of leaving his comrade for dead and he showed up for revenge? Not exactly. Some elements of that, but you could tell that he was in the service and he was maybe part of a special ops team that went in and eliminated threats with deadly force, because he's highly trained, highly skilled, and he's literally a one-man army himself. So, and we've seen him take out multiple groups by himself with no type of problem whatsoever. But the second part of that is the storyline of his comrade leaving his comrade for dead. He showed up for revenge. There may be some truth to that. And
that's what I was thinking. That's what I was kind of thinking. Like,
Bobby, you might be onto something on that last part right there, because we'll get to that at the end, because there's a specific scene that makes me think about this.
Yep, I think you taking this what was making me think about it. I haven't seen the next episode trailer, so I got to go back and watch it so I can catch the trailer. But I think Bobby's definitely on to something with it.
Yeah, Bobby on to something with that last part, and I think that might be where they're going to take the rest of the story. And we'll talk about that in a second. So the lady, she was kind of cheeky and snarky and just a little bit bitchy, actually. But I mean, at the end of the day, he is a criminal or whatever, and so she's treating him as such. So she's pretty much telling him that, listen, are you aware of the charges? He was like, yes. She was like, are you aware that you declined your attorney to be here? And he was like, yes. And she says, why? And she said, do you care to explain? He was like, no. He was like, no, I don't want to explain nothing to you. And then they started running down his charges and everything, and he says, yeah, I'm guilty of all of it and then some. He says, not only am I guilty of those charges, but the prisoner the other day that got deleted, I did that with a pair of scissors. And
I dispatched him too.
I took care of him too, and finna take care of you too. So at this point, he takes the handcuffs off and he pulls out a weapon. He brandishes the weapon at the parole board, and the guards also take out their weapons as well, because she was yelling for the guards to take him back to his cell, and they was like, no. And so obviously these are some of Phumza's dirty cops that Neo mentioned in last episode working for him. So we see that he does have law enforcement on his side. And so he threatens their lives by asking for the code to the secret entrance or the VIP entrance into the hearing room. He makes all of them write the codes down on their pads, and he tells them that if the codes don't match, that he's going to delete them there. And once they provide him with the codes, he did exactly that, deleted them, and he launches his escape.
The one judge actually mentioned, you're going to delete us anyway. He was like, yeah, that's and right after that, he ain't waste not another word.
Yep.
He got him up out of there. He also mentioned to those judges, at least the female judge, he mentioned some of her personal information.
All of
That's what kind of like Oh wow.
Yeah, because he was
Yeah.
like, he said that she got a crippled child, and the other one had a divorce and a son that was on drugs and whatever. He's like, I'll take all them out too. So he threatened them, and of course, he made good on his promise. As he's fleeing the prison, he's taking out all of the other guards too. So they're taking out everybody. So we see a black G wagon pull in to pick him up. I like how they do this too. I like how they do this.
Yeah.
The show doesn't have an intro. The show doesn't have an intro, so the show starts off from with the show, and then when you get to, like, the first couple of scenes, you get this title screen, The Nowhere Man, and then it transitions the story. So I like that. I like when they do stuff like this because that let me know that the story was getting ready to change. So it's kind of almost left over from last week's events a little bit that carried on into this week's events, and now we're transitioning the story. So after back at the shelter, Neo is patching up Lucas's wound, and she's trying to make sure that he's okay because she is a doctor. So we did learn that last week that she was a doctor and she had stopped practicing after everything went crazy with her and Phumza. And so we get our girl Notori Norton come in, aka Tasha St. Patrick, aka Ruby. So she plays the character of Ruby in this show, and she is the homeless shelter. And I wish that they would have just. The story takes place in Cape Town, South Africa. So I don't mind Tasha. I don't mind Notori being in this role. I don't mind it at all. I just wish they would have made her just regular, just American, because this accent that she tries, this African accent that she's trying to carry, it comes and goes. Like some moments she's talking in the African accent or trying to talk in the African accent, and others she's talking like her normal self. So Ruby comes in to check on Lucas, and she asks Lucas, is he okay? And he says, yes, I'm fine, Ruby. And Noelle introduces herself to Ruby and thanks her for allowing her to take sanctuary at the shelter. And she said that she would not be there long. And Ruby says, this is your home now, and you can stay as long as you want to. And she's like, well, I won't be here long. She was like, no, you'll be here for a while. You'll be here for a minute. And so she was like, well, I don't want to be a burden. And she's like, if Lucas told you anything about me and my situation, the longer I stay here, I want to put everyone in danger. And that was very foreboding. That was very foreboding and very ominous at the same time, because she is right. Her presence there at the shelter is going to bring danger to the shelter. So what were your thoughts on Ruby and Neo's interaction? Not much here.
It was kind of like, straight to the point. I think Neo pretty much knows, like, she's giving them basically
warning
Phumza's character. Like, this dude got reached. She's pretty much letting them know, like, yeah, he's in jail, which she doesn't know he's escaped right now, but he's in jail, but his reach is extensive, even outside the jail. So she's pretty much letting them know, like, yeah, I gotta stay on the move, because if I don't, me being in the same place for too long, I can be found, and that's not gonna be good for y'all. So I think, with her kind of letting them know that, and pretty much summing it up, long story short, and I think that Ruby, again, God bless her heart, she pretty much, to me, I know, given the story, her backstory, she said her and her husband moved there to Africa because her husband got into ministry. So with that being said, she said her husband was a violent man, so that's what made her open up the shelter. So she has this, whatever guy has for me, I'm good with, so she kind of walks in that sense. A lot different from the Tasha character, that's for sure. And like you said, they should have definitely had her just be normal, because when she goes and transition from the African accent to American, and it just happens, and you like, yeah, they should have just left her regular.
So that is a good point that she's basically saying without saying that she's got to stay on the move because
Mm-hmm.
so far Phumza's gang members or workers have found her everywhere she tries to take refuge at. So she's worried about the people's safety at the shelter. So we get to Phumza's house that looks like a house off of Grand Theft Auto. Puma got a nice place. Puma got a
It
nice
do.
Puma got a nice place. I need Puma spot, yo. That spot is nice.
It do. It do like a Grand Theft Autos.
Um, so the G wagon pulls up, all shot up, all and Pumza's goons is out front welcoming him home, and we meet Jackson, who was the guy that was able to escape from Lukas last week during the home invasion, and Phumza is asking him about Lukas. He was like, "Who's this guy? Where did he come from? Why was he at the house? Why did y'all not get the drop on him? How did he get the drop on y'all?" And Jackson was like, "He came out of nowhere," which technically he did, but they weren't paying attention. They were too busy watching their op, which was Neo. So they weren't really paying attention to what was going on in the neighborhood and the other homes because Lukas was there. They should have saw him when they were parked down the street, but he was rummaging through the trash cans looking for things for the shelter. So they just thought that he was just a homeless guy, a bum, which that's what he kind of is. But they didn't really realize that he was going to get involved. When they broke into Neo's house to attack her, he came and rescued her. So Phumza pretty much calls it as it is. He was like, "Yeah, I think he got the drop on y'all. He got involved, and I don't understand how he was able to take 3 of y'all out." And Jackson was telling him like, "Dude's trained. He looks like he live in the streets and from the streets, but this dude knows what he's doing." And Phumza was like, "It's okay. It's fine. This is cool." And Jackson is begging for a chance to redeem himself. He's like, "Yo, give me another crack at it. I'll go get him. I'll go get the girl. I'll get him. I'll take care of him." He's like, "No, no, no, no. It's good. It's cool. It's all right." And bam, one of the workers takes Jackson out. I was like, man, I don't want to work with you either, Phumza.
Man, Phumza don't leave no.
No
Bruh.
loose ends. No loose ends.
He say no witnesses and he mean it.
They put Jackson down, and just like that, Jackson is gone. So back at the shelter, Ruby has taken Noelle to get something to eat, and she's just sitting down, and they're exchanging stories and getting to know her. And just like I said in episode 1, my early prediction, I told y'all that Neo was going to take a liking to Nani, which is the little girl that we met in the last episode. And I think now that I've watched this episode, I've kind of put together why. So in the first episode, we learned that she was pregnant with Phumza's child. And Phumza punched her in the stomach and caused her to miscarry. She was having a daughter. And so this little girl makes her think of the daughter she didn't have. So that's why she's taking such a liking to the child already. And Ruby notices that and calls the child over to introduce her to her. And she basically told Neo that Nandi has only been there for a few months. She's had a real tragic background, which we learned her background last week too with that pedophile uncle of hers. And so the child is now in the care of Ruby and Lukas at the shelter, and Neo is now going to take care of the child too. So the child comes over. She comments about the little doll that Lukas gave her or whatever. And they're just having a little sweet, tender moment. And so at this time, Neo asks Ruby, "What made you decide to open a shelter?" And she says, "Well, it was my husband. My husband was real heavy in the ministry, and he got called to Africa to do his thing, which is why they should have made her a regular. And he was a fierce preacher, and he gave powerful sermons and powerful beatings. So we learned that Ruby was a battered wife, and she took to the streets and got herself together and opened this shelter. So it kind of puts you in the mindset, is the shelter for battered women? But it's unclear. It seems like Ruby takes in anyone who needs refuge in the shelter, but I think the premise of the shelter is for battered women because it's a majority of women that live there at the shelter. So then she comments about Lucas being one of God's angels and him being a big help around the shelter and helping them take care of the ladies and the children and everyone at the shelter. And we know that Neo's probably crushing on Lucas at this point, you know. So what did you think about Nandi and Neo? I think that, like I said, she's going to end up taking this child in and taking care of her.
I think I think you hit the nail on the head with that one. She, like you said, you touched on a lot of points with that when you said it was very reminiscent to her losing her child when Phumza said, "Well, if I can't have the child, if I can't be around the child, you can't either."
Neither can you.
So that just shows you the level of evil he is, because he didn't even care that that was his child. He eliminated that too. So I think that
evil.
Right. So I think with you touching on that, and her seeing the child and then just saying how adorable and cute she was, I think that's like her just reminiscing, like that could have very well been me with my child,
yep.
And my daughter, but so she's taking that liking on to baby girl so she can eventually I can see her either adopting the baby or actually spending a lot of time with the child, for sure,
which is probably what's going to end up happening. So
yeah.
Ruby takes Neo to her room and gives her a room and brings in some things for her. And we learned that these are things that were personal to her, like her personal clothing that she had. And she offers them to Neo. And Neo at first declines and says that she'll just go buy some things. She has money. And so Ruby was like, no, you're going to offend me if you don't take these clothes. Take these things. And so she pulls out a nice dress for her to go try on. And they have a moment too. And I was like, okay, this bonding, I didn't think what was going to happen. I thought something else was going to happen where Neo was going to have to end up leaving them all behind for their safety. Boy, was I wrong there. So she just sits there and talks about, she starts crying a little bit when she sees Neo in the dress. And it makes Ruby think about the woman that she used to be as well. So she's thinking about the memories and all that. And how lovely the dress looked on her. And so in that time, Lukas comes in and Ruby's kind of like trying to point Lukas into the direction. Isn't she beautiful? Try to hook him up with her.
Yeah.
She's trying to matchmake them. And so Lukas tells her she looks nice and everything. And then Neo was like, listen, so if I'm going to be here, then let me pay my way by helping out. What can I do to help out around the shelter? And Ruby says, well, we've never had a doctor before, so, it'll be cool for her to help out around the shelter and take care of the people who are sick and, have illnesses and everything. So they are forming their bond. Lukas, Neo, Ruby, all of them are coming together to work together to take care of the folks at the shelter.
Which I think is a good thing because I believe it was in the first episode, because that's when she sent Ruby sent Lukas to the north to look for some things because they were supposed to have a sponsor, and they end up that phone call she ended up having. They lost the sponsor and the private school had closed, so she sent him out, and he was kind of rummaging through garbage cans and things like that to find anything that he can, and he was looking for school items for children. So for her to come across a doctor that's in need of help and in need of shelter, I think that was a great thing for the shelter, to show like the growth and some kind of help. It kind of gave like some daylight to that little darkness within the first episode that we saw when they lost the sponsor for the shelter.
Yeah, because even Ruby herself didn't really know how they were going to make it. And when she looked at the cross, and she put her faith in God. So Ruby's real religious. Throughout her scenes, she always references something about God or being anointed. And even the song that they always played in the background is a religious song. I can't remember what the name of it, but they always play it oftentimes throughout the episode. So that just let me know that Ruby is putting her faith in a higher power. Back at Phumza's place, he's gotten out of his prison clothes and he's put back on his designer clothes. And we first get introduced to his panic room, his emergency room. And he's in his panic room and he is getting some money to pay one of his workers to go out and look for Neo. He was like, she has protection, so do not try to confront her or attack her. You just call me when you find her, but find her. In other words, don't come back unless you do find her, or you gonna be deleted as well.
I'm gonna dispatch you too. Yeah.
Find Neo is basically what
they have Phumza on here. Like, he's, man, like, everybody's scared of Phumza. And they all scared of him.
So we
I like this. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I like this scene right here. For the most part, him canvassing around. He kind of got the little disguise on. I'm sure Neo knew who he was. So, you know, him having a hat and a jacket on and everything pulled all over his head, you know, and just discreetly showing the picture like, have y'all seen her? She's a missing girl, you know, all this other stuff. I think this scene right here was, you know, for it to take place the way it did, and instantly they show Neo out helping, and then he like, oh, there she is right there. You know, this just kind of shows how quick to the point this
the pacing
this TV show is. Yeah, it's straight to the point.
So back at the shelter, I agree with that too. That's exactly what I thought too. When they didn't waste any time showing you that he was out canvassing the neighborhood looking for her, showing her pictures about, and where he spots her at is exactly where he's at right now.
Yeah, and that was just kind of you know, and then just to show, like, going back to Ruby saying, hey, well, if you're a doctor, maybe you can help here at the shelter, and then instantly she's out, you know, putting in the little work, you know, to help people on the streets and stuff like that. So that was pretty dope. That they
at the shelter, she's helping the patients. Yeah. You can tell there's some days go by because you see she's in a different outfit in this scene here, and then in this scene right here, she's in the dress that Ruby gave her. So she's just taking care of the patients at the shelter. So Lukas is down in his workshop and he's on his phone and he's doing research on Phumza, because he never knew who Phumza was, and Neo was trying to warn him last week about how dangerous Phumza was and that he needed to stay away from Phumza. In comes the little girl, Nandi, which she comes down, she starts coughing, she's not feeling well. So he takes her up to Neo for Neo to see about the child and see what's wrong with the child. This right here is what prompts Neo to go out to get medicine for the child. So overnight, they come in to check on the child, and it's sad that the child still has to sleep under the bed because she's scared of her uncle. So the reason why she sleeps under the bed is because she has nightmares about her uncle, which in a child's mind, that age, that uncle is the boogeyman. And so the child takes refuge up under the bed. She sleeps there every night. And you can tell that they're used to her sleeping there up under the bed because they have a little night light down there on the floor by the bed for the child.
Yeah.
So they come in overnight to see about the child, check on her and see how she's feeling. And you instantly see Neo is drawn to this child. She's overly concerned about this child. So she's getting up in the middle of the night to come and check on Nandi and make sure that she's okay. This is what prompts her to leave the shelter to go to the drugstore to get the medicine for the child, which I'm thinking, why she didn't send somebody else to go get the medicine? She should have sent Lukas to go get the medicine. When she comes across a homeless man down on his luck, sleeping out on the streets, and she tells him that she works at a shelter and invites him to come back to the shelter for refuge, sanctuary, and breakfast. And so she takes the homeless man on back to the shelter, and that's when Phumza's goon spots her follows her and calls Phumza to tell him he's found her and where they're located at. I was like, damn.
Which I like how they did that scene, because in the first episode, remember, that's how Ruby found Lukas. He
Yeah.
was down on his luck in an alley or on the street, some sorts, and she got to talking to him about the shelter and this and that and the other, and wanted to give him help. And then you see Nail, she's out and just so happens sees this homeless guy in the park on some stairs and helps him the same way Ruby helped Lukas.
But we ain't saw that yet, Bob. We ain't saw that yet.
I thought that was in the first episode.
But you're right. No, that's in this episode. But
okay.
You're right. That is a good callback to that, because that's exactly what how Ruby found Lukas.
Yeah.
So she goes back to the shelter to try to give the girl the medicine. The little girl is still there in the same spot up under the bed, and she notices that the child is not breathing, and so she panics. Back in Lucas's workshop, we finally get introduced to who this character is. We met him last week, but we didn't get to learn his name or anything about him. So we meet Street. So Street comes in, and I'm assuming that he stays at the shelter, as in last week it wasn't clear to me whether or not he stayed at the shelter or not. But given the fact that he has the same clothes on and he has on this kind of, tacky clothing or whatever, I think that he does stay there at the shelter as well. So Lukas calls Street in and says, Street, tell me what you know about Phumza. And then he starts telling him that, well, I used to work for Phumza. That's how I ended up using, is because I was working for him. I was a runner for him. And that's how I got introduced to the drugs, blah, 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 blah. But he's like, yo, why are you asking about Phumza? Because he is not a good guy. You don't need to mess with him. He's dangerous. He's this, he's that. And Lukas ain't bothered at all. Ain't bothered a bit. When Neo runs in and lets them know that the child is sick and she needs to go to hospital. And so Lukas somehow has a car. Maybe it's Ruby's car. I don't know whose car it is that he's driving, considering last week he was dragging a wagon. But yeah, he's in a car, taking the child to the hospital. And they run in and beg. I said, oh, look at the parents taking their child to the hospital. And Neo wanted to go back there because she is a doctor, but he's like, no, let them do their job. She's going to be fine. And Lukas didn't seem as concerned as Neo was. And Neo blamed herself because she wasn't reactive in enough time to get the child the medicine and everything. And Lukas is like, she's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. So back at the shelter, Ruby is calling down to the hospital, trying to see what's going on with Neo, when in comes Phumza's gang. Yeah. And I like how they just riding around in this shot up G-Wagon with bullet holes.
I think the G-Wagon was bulletproof though.
That windshield like bulletproof. Look at the damage to it.
Well, I mean, bulletproof don't necessarily mean it won't sustain damage.
It won't take damage. That's true.
It just won't go through.
That's true. I just thought it was funny how they were riding around.
But they were definitely riding that sucker.
G-Wagon, I'll ride it too, I guess. So the ladies, the folks at this shelter, they having a nice day. They enjoyed themselves when in come Phumza and their gang, and you can see the fear all over the women at the shelter. They know who Phumza is, and they're just terrified that he's there at their shelter looking for Neo. Out comes Ruby, and Ruby, she didn't back down to him. She told him that Neo was not there. She had left. And he asked about Lukas. She said, I don't know who that is. He left with her. He asked her for a name. She did not give up Lukas. And he attacks her. Phumza attacks her. He smacks her. I think he backhands her first. And of course, she doesn't give up Neo either. And Phumza's like, okay. So then he deletes her. He shoots her. And I just couldn't believe he did that. I could not believe that he did that. That character is so evil that he don't even care that it's a homeless shelter for battered women
in front of everybody. In front of everybody, he deleted her.
He deleted her.
And it's like she didn't. I mean, she stayed. She kind of. I think Pools is the type. If you're going to show him that you're not scared, he's going to dispatch you. It's just that she showed him, I'm not giving you a name to either one of them.
Yep.
They're going. And basically, it's nothing that you can't do to me that I'm not all right because I have God on my side.
Yep.
And he didn't like that. He didn't like that at all.
And I think that's why he shot her. I think that's exactly why he shot her. So Ruby's dying on the floor, and then the way he stepped over her and kind of kicked her a little bit as he was stepping over her, I was like, I was disgusted. Yeah, he's very cold-blooded, evil man. And so Street sees all this, and he runs off to go call Lukas. So back at the hospital, looks like they're giving the child a breathing treatment or something. We find out that the child has a lot of fluid in her lungs, and they are treating her for that. Neo again is overly concerned about the child when Lukas get that call about Ruby. He tells her stay there. Street calls him and tells him what's going on. She's like, what's going on? He's like, stay here, don't go nowhere, I'll be back. He got to go to the shelter himself to see this. He's got to see for himself. So they've got Ruby's body covered with a blanket. The ladies there are crying. And when he pulled that blanket back and saw that it was Ruby, that was it. I know their Phumza is not making it out of this episode.
D1 crash out.
Yeah. I mean, he went to his so we see him drive out to like a countryside, and we meet his, I don't remember what his name was, but we meet his commanding officer. And it looks like a friend too, who's been, kind of there for Lukas. And he's like, so you finally came for that drink. He's like, no, I ain't come for the drink. He was like, I came for some gear in my car. He was like, I got a job to go do. And he was like, you need a crew? He was like, nope. He's like, okay, well, I'm finna slide with you. He was like, no, I got to handle this on my own. He was like, don't go out here and get yourself unalive. He was like, nah, I'm not going to get myself unalive. And so they talk and they exchange. He was like, I'm still your commanding officer. And he was like, I'm just going to go in here and get this gear. And we see his armory.
Lukas got a lair.
Yeah, Lukas got a whole armory in here. He got every kind of weapon you can think of. And he starts packing up his gear. And he's gets in his El Camino, and I don't know what was so special about this car. Like it's Batmobile, I guess. I don't know, all black El Camino. And the commanding officer asked him again, like, you sure you don't want me to come with you? And he was like, no, I'm good. I got this. I'll be back. I promise you. I'll be back. And so we see Lukas pull off. Back at the shelter, he gives Street some money and a weapon and tell him to get the ladies at the shelter to safety, that he's getting ready to go after Phumza. And he's pretty much asking Street, how do I find Phumza? Where is he at? And Street is pretty much telling him, like, no, please don't do this. Don't go after this man. It's crazy. He will unalive you. Lukas like, all that you talking about, I need to know a location. That's all I need, a location. And so
I ain't trying to none of that you talking about.
None of that you talking about. I need a location because he don't put Ruby down and he finna go down today. And so he goes back to the hospital to tell Neo that Ruby has passed on and what Phumza did to her. And Ruby's upset. I mean, Neo is upset. She's crying. She's like, this is all my fault. I never should have came here, blah, blah, blah. And they don't blame her for it. At first, I thought Lukas was going to blame her for it and was going to be upset with her because if I'd never got involved with you, none of this would have happened to us. But he was like, no, that's not how that works. He was like, you know what? We're going to take care of this. And she was like, leave. She's begging him to leave Phumza alone at this point. But he's like, I got to go do this. And he gives her a kiss. And she was like, Mandy needs you and I need you too. And then that's when he kisses her and he tells her that he will be back. I was like, all right.
Yeah, I saw. I mean, you can almost see that coming from the point of episode 1 when he rescued her from Phumza henchman, that she was gonna kind of have a thing for him.
Yeah, she was gonna fall in love with him. So Lukas is out on a drive. He's heading to Phumza's place. Phumza must live far away because he didn't get there tonight. And he starts having the flashbacks. And this is where we found out that Ruby found him on the street, drunk in the gutter, and she brings him into the shelter, and he tries to refuse her help, and she would not leave him alone, and she ended up picking him up out of the gutter and taking him to the shelter to take care of him. Back at the Grand Theft Auto mansion, Phumza's place, Phumza is in his panic room, and he's looking at the cameras when he sees Street comes up. And one of the goons was like, "That's Street." And I like how Street played himself here. He came in kind of like a little drunk, a little wino or whatever. He was like, "I got some information for you. I got some information for you." And we see that whatchamacallit, Lukas is pulling up to the woods, getting ready to do his stakeout. And one of the workers come out and said, "Your death wish." He was like, "What you want to see Phumza about?" He was like, "I got something really important to talk to him about." So they search him and frisk him, and he didn't have any weapons on him. So I got a question later on. So they take him into Phumza, and Phumza's like, "You got a lot of balls coming here. You got a lot of nerve coming here." Like, he was like, "What do you want?" And then he was like, "I got some information for you. That guy that you was looking for, I know who he is, and he's gonna come after you." And I was like, "Damn, Street." I was pissed. I was pissed.
Hey, that part right there had me upset. I mean, I was hot. I was boiling. I'm like, "You mom,
snitch, you op." I'm like,
the whole ops.
Yeah, I'm like, "I know you're not coming in here and giving up Lukas." So he gives up Lukas to Phumza. He tells Phumza that, yeah, he's getting ready to come after you, and he's coming after you tonight. And Phumza gets up and threatens him and tells him that if he does not show up tonight, that he's going to unalive him. And so that's when you see Lukas do his thing. He take out the entire compound. He starts with the soldiers on the ground. And I love that scene where the two came out of the elevator and he was on top of the elevator and he popped out. He let that thing go on him. And so Phumza is on the two-way radio trying to call them in to get an update on what's going on outside because they hear the gunshots and stuff and ain't nobody answering. So Lukas picks up the radio and said, "They not here no more. And you're not going to be here more either. I'm coming to get you." And so he makes his way inside of the house and he starts taking out the goons on each level. One by one, he's dropping them left and right, all throughout the house, dropping them left and right. And I'm thinking to myself, Phumza should have went to the panic room, right?
Right.
So he let that thing go on one of them other guards and they heard the gunshots upstairs. So they are expecting him to come down the elevator. They're expecting him to come out of the elevator. So they're all standing there with their weapons drawn, waiting for the elevator door to open so they can let that thing go. And so here, this is when I found out that Phumza is a coward. When he said, "I'm just going to go check the cameras out." And that guy looked at him like, "Yeah, okay, you scared." That man said he was getting ready to go check the cameras out.
He was going to look at the cameras.
Yeah, he was going to look at the cameras, and they got the things out. So he was not able to make it to the panic room because Lukas and Street had came up with a plan, and Street got the drop on him. And it looks like he threw down a smoke bomb or something.
That was he made some kind of he had some kind of homemade like incapacitating smoke bomb or something or whatever.
That's what he had.
But it was in a liquor bottle.
Yeah, okay, it was in the liquor bottle. That's what he had in the liquor bottle. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, it was in a liquor bottle, which the crazy part is they searched him and he had a liquor bottle. So they he a drunk, he a dope fiend. So we just gonna let him in the way he is, and he held on to that bottle. So when he threw it down, that bottle, that whatever he had mixed up in that bottle, incapacitated him. And I'm pretty sure that is something that Lukas made up and gave to him.
You answered my question perfectly. Perfectly because I was like, well, where did he get it from? Because they searched him, he didn't have anything on him. It was in the liquor bottle. Man.
Yep, it was in the liquor bottle.
And that's how he played, because that's how he played himself. He played himself like he was a drunk, he was a crackhead or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He came in there wobbling and stumbling, probably smelled of alcohol. And you're right, they just let him held on to the bottle. Bet.
Because they probably would have shot him. They probably would have dispatched him real quick if he would have came in there cleaned up and whatever. But from them remembering him, he was on drugs and he was a drunk, and Phumza let him go. So for him to come in there with that liquor bottle, they like, oh, it's street. He out on probably on bad times or whatever. Yep.
So during that smoke out, there's a shootout, and I guess Phumza got hit. And so he's crawling or trying to crawl to safety when Lukas comes in and yokes him up. And they have that conversation. Lukas warned you, Phumza. He warned you last week. He told you to leave that girl alone. That every time you sent somebody after that girl, he was going to take care of them and he's going to take care of you. And he did. And Phumza was sitting there begging for his life, offering him money, and told him that, listen, I'll make you a rich man. Just let me go, let me go, let me go. And he was like, you know what? Ruby believed in second chances. And he was like, that's where I disagreed with her. And man, did he let that thing go on Phumza. Man, he let that thing go.
Phumza out of here.
That was an extended clip he let go on him.
But you see, like throughout throughout these first two episodes, you see how quick they get to the situation, get through the situation, and give you an ending to that situation.
Yep.
Go on before they go on to the next thing. That is crazy. I did not expect Phumza to be dispatched that fast. Like second episode, bro.
Deleted, unalive, no longer here. Phumza is out of here. So, and whereas I thought that he was going to be the villain, they were setting it up where he was going to be the villain for the season. So I thought that was going to be the threat for the entire season, that they were going to spend the entire season running from him or his goons attacking them. This to me could have been, this is episode 2. That could have very well been the last episode for the season 2. That's what I liked about this episode right here so much, is like this is what y'all gave us for episode 2, but y'all could have took this and put this at the end of the series at the season and gave us that as a cliffhanger, but y'all gave that to us in episode 2. That was fire. So
yeah, I think with them doing this the way they're doing it, they're setting this up similar to what you said, like the Punisher, and then it also kind of gave me like Luke Cage vibes, because you're going to see him, probably Lukas, take on several different villains.
Yeah,
or problem. Yeah, you can kind of see it, but it was definitely like I didn't expect that to be second episode. Like Holmes is out of here,
and not only that, but Ruby's out of here. Second episode,
right? And Ruby
I
out of here.
Expect that to happen. So back at the hospital, Neo is there. And the child wakes up and the child is okay. So she's happy to see that Nandi is made it through and she's going to be okay. When in comes Lukas, she runs up and she jumps up in his arms. He pretty much tells her in so many words, without even having to say words, that it's over. And she saw that he came back alive. She knew that it was over. And then we have Ruby's memorial service. So they had Ruby's funeral. I thought it was dope that they gave us this too in this episode, that we didn't have to for that.
Yeah.
They gave us Ruby's funeral, so we know that Ruby is gone. Ruby is out of here. And so for me, I think what's going to happen now, I'm going to remix my early prediction into another one. I think what's going to happen is Lukas and Neo are going to continue to run the shelter in memory of Ruby. In honor of Ruby, they're going to keep the shelter open. She is now going to help them run the shelter. So now I thought it was very symbolic that Ruby put Neo in her clothes specifically. Because now Neo is going to be the new Ruby.
And that's a good point that you just brought up, the whole her having Ruby's clothes, and even though she gave her that one dress from that suitcase, I think we're gonna find in other episodes, seeing that Nail is gonna probably wear more
Or
African
dress more
garment.
like, or dress
Yeah,
more like Ruby.
we're gonna end up dressing more like Ruby, and they're taking over the shelter. But I do see how symbolic it was for her to help that man on the stairs, and then for them to show in a flashback after Ruby's passing how Ruby helped Lucas when he was laid out the same way. So
And,
I
and,
kind
and
of think
putting her
that
in Ruby's clothes, it was foreshadowing that she is now going to become the new Ruby.
yeah, yeah.
And I
And they're
think,
gonna take Naughty in.
yeah, they're going. That's why I would say they're going. I think maybe by the end of the series, maybe, or if not the season, maybe they'll get married or something. Lucas and Neo end up getting married, and I think Street is going to hang around with them as well, and he's going to help them as well, take care of people at the shelter. So I thought this was
He's
really
probably gonna become more like a groundskeeper for the shelter, and help with the upkeep and things like that. I can see, and given this, he actually shared, like, once Lucas and Neo walked away, he kind of shared like a tender moment where they actually showed him have like his breakdown, and he cried and everything. So I think he's going to be around too. I think he's going to become a central character in the series as well.
and most likely Lucas's helper. His
Yep.
how he helped him out in this episode right here. I could see him using Street more throughout the season on his
Yeah.
little situation.
Probably be his eyes and ears in the street too.
Yep. And you would probably think that Ruby probably took him in around about the same way she did Lucas. He was on that stuff out in the street or whatever. So she probably took him in and cleaned him up and got him together. So everybody's indebted to Ruby for what she did for them. She took them in when nobody else cared. So that's why they had to avenge. They had to slide for Ruby, and I was ready to slide with them for Ruby because she didn't.
Yeah. They didn't waste no time sliding either.
This is Bobby's theory right here. This old man that they show sitting on this bed. I was like, who's this Vegeta Dragon Ball Z character that they're showing us? What is the significance of this? And I think that this is the fallen comrade that Lucas probably thought was dead,
and he wasn't,
and he's not, and he's probably upset with Lucas because he thinks Lucas left him behind, and I think he's going to come after Lucas, or he's part of some kind of criminal organization. He's part of somewhere that's been revenge that he's been wanting to get for a long time, finding Lucas because I was your friend and you left me behind. I feel like that's what kind of storyline we're going to get with this Asian guy.
Or he's from the first episode when Lucas commandeered the helicopter and they crashed it, and that's revenge too as well.
Okay, one of those two scenarios. This is scary.
I'm leaning more towards what Bobby said, because this guy here, if you watch, like, I went back and watched this part. He has like significant
scars.
Wounds,
yeah, his body is bad. His body is bad. That's why I thought that he could have been the one that was supposed to have died in that explosion in this episode, Jonah, because he even called his name Jonah. He was like Jonah, and I'm like, okay, who's Jonah? So when I saw his back and all scarred up and everything, I was like, that's what made me think about the explosion. I was like, okay, was he the one that was supposed to have been unalived in that explosion? But I like your scenario too, but they both could be tied together. Both of those flashbacks could be tied to the same person.
We can also add a third one to make people say, what if that explosion was meant for Lucas and
Jonah took it?
Yep.
Okay. Well, there you guys have it. That is episode 2 of the Nowhere Man Stars. It drops on the Stars app on midnight, Thursday night, Friday morning. and it airs on Friday evenings on the Stars Network. 6 episodes, guys. So y'all need to get out here and get caught up. We got the first 2 episodes. Check our episode 1 review out on the channel. And we will be back next week to talk to you about episode 3. M2, any last words?
No, just again, very, very dope series. To the chat, to anybody that's watching this, do not sleep on this show. This show is actually pretty good. It gets right to the point. As you said, I like how it's really no intro. They give you suspense and they throw that name in there and they go right on to the next thing with it. So I definitely think this is something, worth checking out. And it's definitely not a dry series at all.
All right, fam. We will see you guys in the next video. We out.